Just don't worry about it. Okay, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out. This is the 50th anniversary for the Hazel Green Fire Department. They started in 1967. They actually still have two of the original members who started it, Tommy Walters and Marvin Wagers. Are they here? Are they here? Marvin Morris. Marvin Morris. Is any of them here? Did y'all see any of them? That's it. Okay. They've got 24 members. They have 2 fire stations, 8 trucks, which 3 is pumpers, 4 tankers, 1 rescue truck. They have 2 fire stations. They are debt free. They've actually done 20 runs this year already. They do a lot of other community projects, which you can see this is one of them. You all give out, what, food to 1,400 families? Is that what? 1,400 families with food this year? 1,400 families with food this year. They help the local churches. They also cut down the trees which are in the road. They transport patients to the hospital. And also would like to give a special thanks to Rick Crace, because every time I come out, he's working extra hard. And so is Nikki Stacy. She's usually bumming somebody every time you see her. All right, guys, we're ready to start with the candidates. Need to read the rules. Each candidate will have 4 minutes to speak. There won't be no questions from the floor. The candidates are actually speaking from how they were on the ballot. We thought that was the fair way to do it. And we can't, if you hear somebody speaking something you don't like, keep your mouth shut, let them talk. Talk when it's your turn. If there's any interruptions, you'll be asked to leave and we'll lose your turn. 30 seconds? I've got to hurry. Kentucky. Oh, yeah. Look over here to Rick. As you can tell, he'll tell you when you got 30 seconds left. He'll tell you when you're done. We're going to start with the Kentucky Court of Appeals, Mr. David Allen Barber.
I'm going to use most of my time. Well, Don's back. I didn't want to cheat him of time. I thank you for having us here tonight. I'm David Barber, originally from Floyd County. My wife, Paula Richardson, she's from Bath County, so we now live by the lake over here by Cave Run. I was lucky enough to be your Court of Appeals judge for a number of years and on the Kentucky Supreme Court. I've been through this community many times, and but never seen this beautiful inside of this fireplace. I feel like I was getting called to the principal's office. I know that you got some very educated people here, very smart people, because Jim, the man that's just speaking, was introducing me around to some people, and the lady in the back here is a school principal, and her husband's school principal. He said he graduated from high school with her. And I asked her, I said, why, how come you look so much younger than he does? And she said, well, you know, they held him back a lot. Court of Appeals is a much more important job than people realize. 85% of the appeals from your local courts are finished in the Court of Appeals. You can read the opinions I've written over the years. You just Google search my name online in Kentucky, and every case that had to do with working people, you'll find I always supported working people, coal miners. I was raised by a coal miner. You know, Floyd County, that's all we had is coal mines, and now we don't have any of those. So we're looking, you know, in 22 counties, Don will tell you, we've been all over, and the 2 things that are most important to the people in those 22 counties is, number 1, jobs, or worried about jobs, and the second thing is drugs. We have lost a whole generation almost of our children to drugs. And if we don't enforce the laws as they're written, if we don't take these young children out of dangerous situations and try to get the local groups, because we don't have a lot of money anymore. As you know, you're reading the paper every day about the budget and how much fire departments are getting cut, how much public schools are getting cut. But we got a lot of Christians. I was raised in the Church of Christ here at Hueysville, and I'm telling you, we got more Christians than we have drug addicts. We need a partnership of the court system, the educational system, the church people, the people who are willing to mentor children to keep them out of this harm's way, because it's a whole lot easier to keep these people from becoming addicts than it is to try to get them through rehabilitation time and time and time again. I welcome any of you all to go on our Facebook page. I'll answer any question that you feel is important to you. I don't want to take a lot of your time. We would appreciate you help return us to the Court of Appeals. My wife and I have the Brady Bunch between us. We have 6 children, 3 boys and 3 girls, and 10 grandchildren that we all think the world of. We started over here today this morning with a cake, a nice cake, and we stopped at Hillbilly Days with all my bunch. The cake didn't make it over here. So I felt like I needed to help raise you a little money and bid on these things. I thank you for your hospitality. This won't be the last time that we're here. Vote for Barber on May 26th.
Okay, the only other Court of Appeals here is Mr. Donald Combs.
I'm Don Combs. I'm from Pikeville, Kentucky. And I'm running for the Court of Appeals. First, I want to tell you, a lot of people were shocked when I told them earlier, there are 22 counties involved in this race. It's the whole end of Kentucky, if you can see this. It goes all the way up to Greenup County and down to Harlan, over to Pike, and all the way to Montgomery County, almost to Lexington. First thing I want to do is thank Eddie and Nikki Stacy, who hosted this event, and Arthur Vest, the fire chief. This is one nice fire station. Tell you about me first. I'm from Pikeville, Kentucky. I was born and raised there. Went off and got my education in Lexington. I went to UK's law school. When I came back, I've been practicing law in Pikeville for more than 35 years on Main Street. My dad went to UK's law school before me, and he practiced for 30 years before I got there on Main Street in Pikeville. In fact, our firm's been there for more than 107 years. And what we're seeing now is a change in our whole society. You've seen what's happened to the coal industry and oil and gas and all the rest. You've seen that crime's going up, and as the judge said, drug addiction's going up, and it's a bad thing. I'm a Methodist. I go to the Methodist church right there on Main Street and have my whole life. I was an Eagle Scout, and I was on the board of governors of the Bar Association. The lawyers put me on there for 6 years, and that's the board that disciplines lawyers. I'm on the state ethics committee for judges. That's the committee where judges ask when they want to know if they can do something that's ethical or not. They ask our committee. I'm married to Leslie Combs. Some of you may know Leslie. She was a representative for 10 years. She's responsible for the 4-laning of the Mountain Parkway. And the way I could say that is she was the chairman of the budget subcommittee of transportation, so she had the checkbook. And unless that Mountain Parkway project got through, nobody else was going to get a project in Kentucky. And you see what's happening, it's being 4-lane. She's also the lady that shot the gun off in the Capitol Annex. I'm not supposed to tell that, but it's true. She did it safely. She shot the bookcase and not anybody else. She turned around to unload the gun and it went off, and I had to buy the bookcase. So, because you can't destroy state property. We have 2 children. My daughter Elizabeth's been an attorney in Lexington for 3.5 years. My son Don is graduating from law school next month. No more tuition, yay. Anyway, what kind of judge would I be? I would like to think I'd be a law and order judge. In order to do that, of course, you have to follow the law and be fair. But more than that, we have to put God first, all of us do, and our family, and then our country. I think criminals belong in jail. I think drug dealers belong in the worst place. Now, I agree with David Barber that first offenders, we got to find a way to help people that are addicted. But drug dealers is another ball of wax. I'm for guns. I'm a member of the NRA. I do hunt and fish. I don't have a lot of connection to Wolfe County. It's really about the second or third time I've ever been here. It's absolutely beautiful. I did meet Lee Allen down in Hillbilly Days this morning in Pike County. He's your former sheriff. I'm number 4 on your ballot. Okay. First thing I want to tell you, nonpartisan. This is nonpartisan race. That means you got to go to the bottom. Sometimes you got to go to the second page. It's the end. You got to look for it. If you pull the straight ticket, you won't vote in our race. So you've got to look for it or you'll miss it. Primary is May 22nd. I'm number 4 on your ballot, Don Combs. Thank you.
Let's see, we'll move right along. We don't have a candidate here for Constable District 1. We'll go to Constable District 2, Jason Miller.
I'm Jason Miller. I'm running for Constable in District Number 2. It's pretty much plain and simple. We have seen in the past, I believe the constable should have a much more approach. I think it's more than just a title that somebody should have. I think if you want to be a constable, I think you need to get out and help. You need to get out there and do things. I don't think you should, sit at home and do nothing. And I'm not saying in other districts, because we have a really good constable in District 1 and 3, but in District 2, it's not seen no action for a long time. I believe if you're going to get out there and do it, you really need to do it. My past jobs include I worked for Rest Care, where I took care of mentally challenged individuals. A very stressful job, but somebody's got to do it. And then I was a security officer at the Mount Sterling Hospital. Job duties include I worked with social services, local police department. I've seen a lot of things. Like I said, if you guys are looking for a constable that's going to be active, give me a shot. My name is Jason Miller. I'm number 2 on the ballot, and thank you all very much for having me here.
Okay, we're going to skip on up to the county judge executives, Mr. William Robert Hurst, and then Raymond Banks will have a spokesman.
I'd like to say hello to everybody. I know most of you, but and thank the fire department for this. I think they do great work over here. We come over every chance we get. My name's Robert Hurst, and I'm seeking the office of Wolfe County Judge Executive. I appreciate the opportunity to speak for a few minutes and hopefully get some feedback on things we need to do to improve our county as we go forward. We have 2 great advantages in Wolfe County. One is our central location to the entire eastern Kentucky region. Paintsville, Pikeville, Prestonsburg, Jackson, Hazard, Bataville, and Boonville, and the list goes on. We have the property to be developed, and we will have people who will work when given the opportunity. I would like to concentrate on distribution centers and take advantage of that one great asset we have, being our location and our road system. Then Wolfe County could attract other employers to locate in this area, such as manufacturing businesses. Our second great advantage is the abundance of nature. Rock climbing is a big business. Wolfe County is already world famous for that. And we need to help our tourism committee to push hard to promote our recreational assets. The more people we attract to our recreational opportunities, the more service-oriented jobs will be created. This would also help our tax base, which would pass on to our schools, library, and all Wolfe Countyans. We have approximately 7,300 people in Wolfe County, and approximately 2,800 of our residents live at or below the poverty level. I understand being a child and going to bed hungry, being cold in the winter and not having enough clothes. I lived that life for a period of my time growing up. My brother and I spent time in an orphanage and moved from place to place until our grandparents took us in to raise. My first stable environment was the 3.5 years I spent up here at the academy, so I wish to say thank you to HGA. My childhood is one of the reasons I feel so much pain at the suffering of our Wolfe County children. If you know of a family needing help, please let me or someone know. Do not let our children suffer. Let's figure out a way to help our families in Wolfe County get back on their feet and provide them with an opportunity to improve their lives. I think we need a local ambulance service. That is one of the biggest complaints I've heard while out campaigning. And everyone I've talked to, that's one gripe that they have. The ambulance service for Wolfe County is a top priority for me and the other citizens of Wolfe County also. I would like to see 2 physical court meetings each month, with at least one being scheduled after 5 in the evening, so that people that are unable to attend during normal business hours can come to that. I would also love to see our school children attend meetings. We need to get involved. They need to get involved for the betterment of Wolfe County, because they're going to be taking over one of these days. I have worked 36 years for Locust Grove Mining. I've been superintendent for approximately the last 7 years. I understand road building, equipment maintenance, and a budget. I've dealt with state and federal agencies for the last 15 years. I've worked with people, for people, and had people work for me. If elected, you, the people of Wolfe County, will be my boss. You will be the ones I work for and listen to. I promise you that I will always work hard, work with Frankfort and Washington, and do the best to improve our county. I will work with other officials. I think that done me in. I had more.
Now we'll have Gina Allen speaking for Raymond Banks.
So as he said, I'm Gina Allen. I'm actually his daughter, so Sid Allen's daughter. I am a resident of Wolfe County, and I'm here to speak for Raymond Banks. So Raymond, he'd like to get the ambulance service back in Wolfe County. He'd also like to get the fire departments actually working with the EMTs. He will work hard for our youth. I mean, he's helped me tremendously as a person. He also, here in Hazel Green, you see people walking on this, like right in the middle of the road. He wants to put sidewalks in Hazel Green, so they're not walking in the road and they actually have somewhere to walk, which I agree. There's been several times I came up on people and they've been walking in the road because there is no sidewalks here to walk. So as you know, he also has already opened the Campton Lake. He also, he just wants you all, people of Wolfe County. He wants you back. He wants your say. He wants you to have full say in everything. So he will be here for you. Remember, Raymond Banks, Judge Executive, May 22nd.
Okay, up next will be the district judge. Speaking first, Billy Oliver.
Howdy. I was over here a few weeks ago and I see a lot of the same faces here tonight, but several new ones, good crowd, and I'd like to commend the fire department for putting this on tonight. You've done a really good job. When I first started practicing law, if I'd have had a bucket list, probably one of the things on that list would have been to be a judge at some time during my career. The folks here in Wolfe County elected me county attorney in it's been so long, let me think here a minute, 1989. And then I was reelected in 1993 and stayed in office till 1998. And I haven't held public office since that time. That's been 20 years ago. So you may wonder what I'm doing here today. Excuse me. Since that time, every time that, as y'all know, Judge Profit from here in Wolfe County, he's been the district judge since, for 25 years. He got elected in 1993. And every time that there's been another election for either a family court judge or a circuit court judge, I think that Larry Miller from here in Wolfe County has been a candidate. And so I never did really fancy the idea of running against, a hometown boy. So anyway, this race came up this year, and I waited up until the last day to file to run, and no one else from Wolfe County filed to run for this office. So I thought, well, my time has finally came. And the old saying, good things come to those who wait. Well, I've waited a long time. And I'd really like to hold this office. I think being a district judge would be a great honor. It's a hard job. I think Judge Profit has made it look easy. He's been doing it so long, but people ask me, well, what can you do to improve the office, or what are you going to do that's better? And my response has been, I think it's been excellent, and my goal is just to keep it going the way that it has been going. I know everyone's concerned about the drug problem. It's nationwide. It's a personal thing to me. I have had first cousins on both sides of my family who have lost children to drug overdoses. So it's personal to me, and I will do anything that I can in my power to help remedy the situation, whatever that is. Like I said, I've been an attorney for right at 30 years. I've got the experience to do this, and I would just ask you all to consider me on Election Day. Thank you very much.
Okay, also for District Judge, Jerret Rose.
Hello, good to be here tonight. I want to apologize first and foremost. I'm a little bit under the weather tonight, but I hope everybody can hear me. Obviously I'm not starving to death, and I always feel at home here at Hazel Green. I've been up here several times. I want to thank the Hazel Green Volunteer Fire Department for all they do. I have seen them do a lot of community outreach and a lot of good things for this community. And I'm a country boy myself. I live over in Bowen in Powell County. We have a church and a school, and that's about it. But I feel right at home coming up here. I see a lot of familiar faces, and I'm honored to be here tonight. Again, I'm Jerret Rose. I'm from Powell County, and I'll be running nonpartisan for district judge. And when I had first discussed this with Judge Profit, who has served us well for the past 25 years, we talked about what I could do to help carry on his legacy and to help do some things that will make the 39th Judicial District a better place to live for our families. And first and foremost, he said, go for it. He wanted me to run, and I threw my hat in the ring. I practice in Stanton, Kentucky. We also have an office in Mount Sterling, Kentucky. But I'm proud to be an Eastern Kentuckian, but I have seen many of my former classmates, many family, friends, neighbors, so forth, who have fallen victim to drug abuse and addiction, and it's pitiful. I represent children who are abused and neglected as guardian ad litem in our court system, and 90% of the time you can trace it back to drugs. I also work with the Casey's Law program here, and if you're not familiar with that, it's basically involuntary rehab. Even if you're over the age of 18, your family members and loved ones can petition the district court to put you in rehab. So your choice is rehab or jail. And that's something very important that I've discussed with Judge Profit that I want to continue. He was instrumental in getting that program into the 39th Judicial District, and I want to carry that on. Too many times, people get left by the wayside. Too many good people have fallen victim to drug use. But I may not be from here, but my roots run deep in eastern Kentucky. My grandfather, Frank Elkins, was born on and lived on Holly Creek over here. And my great-grandmother, Nancy Terrell Elkins, was a midwife. I actually have her old paperwork of some of the babies she delivered. She would ride her horse over the ridges and deliver babies in the days before they had doctors. But I'm thankful that this has become the thriving community that it is. We now have a wonderful fire station. We have doctors and everything we need. But still, I found a deep desire in my heart to run for this. I'm not a politician. I've never run for anything. You can call me a politician since November 8th. That's the day I filed. But other than that, I'm not. But I have a deep desire to serve the people of eastern Kentucky. I come from a family of school teachers, and I'm proud of that. I've seen a lot bad that has happened to our school teachers, but I'm proud that my mother is going to be a retired school teacher. I have social workers in my family, and we've dedicated our lives to community service. I've never come from much. I've never had a last name that meant anything, but I'm proud of where I come from. And I want to serve people like you. I'm not here for the lawyers. I'm not here for the higher ups in the town, the big wigs. I'm here for you, the people. I don't have any corporate sponsors. We're funding my own campaign. That's why we had soup beans at my first rally. It may be steak at the next one, but for now it's soup beans. And that's just fine with me. But I'm here to serve you. If you have any questions of me or want to know more about me, feel free to ask. I'm an open book. I appreciate you all coming out tonight. Thank you. God bless you, and vote Rose.
Okay, now up next, we've got the state representatives for the 97th District. Going first will be Issac Allen.
Hello, everybody. I see a whole lot of familiar faces here. My name again is Issac Allen. For those that I haven't met yet, hopefully we'll meet soon. We've been up here passing speeches back and forth among candidates. I think me and Judge Barber have met the most. We've been trading speeches. I think this is our 6th or 7th one now. We're getting really good. We could take each other's place. I am running for state representative. My background, I live over in Morgan County, just in Grassy Creek. I am a general contractor. That's what I do for a living, do construction work. And I wanted to really make a difference. The reason I decided to run, it was really a good time politically. A lot of change could take place. And particularly being an open seat, there's generally no better time to ever make a go at it, and that's what I wanted to do, take the time to make a difference. So that was my first goal, and the only reason I run. I have several issues on my mind. I've talked about many of them over. Some of them I'm going to repeat here. There might be a new one come out of my mouth. I don't know yet. But one of the things I want to mention, this is probably my most consistent message, is term limits. Everything that happens, we complain about government, and there's definitely problems, and that's not all going to be fixed in one term or by one person either, or one party for that matter. But it doesn't matter if it's Frankfort, Kentucky or Washington, D.C. You sit down there, probably even the best of people just deteriorate, either get complacent or go worse than that. So I'm really a big fan of term limits. If it's good enough for presidents and governors, it should be good enough for our legislators. That being said, if term limits is the case, it's not a career job. We don't need a retirement system for our legislators. It's an act of service. And so that money right there, we've heard of pension problems with, it's been in the news all over with our teachers. It's also affecting other state employees. I'm sure the legislator retirement amount is a drop in the bucket, but at least it'd be a drop back in their bucket. So that's one big item I'd like to see happen down there. And it's really going to take, it's hard to push through because you got to push through the career politicians to get that going. So maybe this time with a lot of turnover might be the time we can make that happen. So that's one big issue. The other one I've hit it over and over is, and several other people have here too, is the opioids. And, there's lots of things out there, but the only idea that one I've done some research on that sounds good and plausible and possible is that all opioids be administered in a hospital setting. I understand it's not a perfect answer. There are people with chronic pain, but for those to be administered and regulated, or at least with some kind of oversight. So that's the two big ones I've repeated over and over. One thing that's not new at all, and we all feel it, whether it's out of a paycheck or if we pay our own insurance, is affordable health care. And it's really a struggle. One of the many things I'd like to see happen, or the first idea I'd like to see happen is we expand the insurance to let more companies in to make sure they're good companies. Easy on that thing. Okay. That being said, I want the customer to be the customer. When you go to the doctor, you are not the customer, the insurance company is. So increase competition, let the people be the customer, not the insurance company. I got a lot more to say, and if there's anybody still left, I may make another round. Issac Allen for your state representative. Thank you.
Up next for state representative is Craig Lindon.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Craig Lindon, candidate for state representative in the 97th District. It's great to be back in Hazel Green, Kentucky, my hometown. It's also an honor for me to be back in the same building where my grandfather served here as principal many years ago. I would like to thank the Hazel Green Volunteer Fire Department for putting this event on. I would like to thank the first responders, our law enforcement, who makes us and protects us every day. I decided to run for state representative in the 97th District to improve the quality of life for the people of Eastern Kentucky, and more especially the 97th District. As I said before, my grandfather was right here in Hazel Green and was an educator here and was principal for many years. My roots run deep here, and I am a strong supporter for public education, and make it clear I am not for the charter schools that our governor is for. Just this last week, our governor pulled another backroom deal. He went and stacked the board in education and forced our education commissioner, Mr. Pruitt, to resign, which he did. Now he has appointed an advocate for charter schools at a cost of $150,000, which is interim. He fired Mr. Pruitt, which was a cost of $350,000. Folks, that's $500,000 that taxpayers' hard-earned dollars that could have been used for textbooks and many other things for our youth. I also am a strong advocate for broadband internet, cell phone coverage for future generations in Eastern Kentucky. I also feel that it will bring tech-related jobs to Eastern Kentucky so that kids can stay here and support your families and raise them right here in Eastern Kentucky. I am the only candidate to take a stand to remove the right to work and to repeal the prevailing wage. I feel like the hard-earned workers that go out here and work every day that has a skill and a trade should be compensated. Also, Wolfe County has a need for tourism. Tourism has been an attraction here. Folks, we need to take advantage of that tourism. I want to use the tourism board to promote parks and recreation for our youth in the communities. I am a strong advocate for our youth. I support the expansion of the Mountain Parkway. My background is in transportation. I retired from there this past July. I'm well familiar with the 6-year highway road plan, the unscheduled needs list, the rural secondary program, which I was program coordinator over for the last 10 years. I've worked with county judges. I've worked with magistrates. I've worked to improve the roads, the small bridges in Eastern Kentucky. And when elected as your next state representative, I will continue to fight for better quality roads and bridges for the 97th District. Ladies and gentlemen, not all Democratic ideas are good. Not all Republican ideas are bad. But a pension is a promise to all of our government workers, and we need to uphold that. Folks, these group of legislators that we have, and this governor are for the few, by the few, and not for you. Vote Craig Lindon on May the 22nd, 2018, and I will go and fight for you. Thank you.
Okay, then up next for the state representative is Bobby McCool.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for allowing me to be out here tonight. Certainly, this is a beautiful evening. And, you know, you could have been anywhere else tonight, but you chose to come out and take part of this. So thank you for your time. That's very important. And certainly want to thank the fire department. You know, the fire department is very much, they got the finger on the pulse with the community. If you want to know what's going on in the community, you visit your local volunteer fire department. Yes, my name is Bobby McCool, and I am running for state representative for Johnson, Morgan, and Wolfe counties. A little bit about myself. I'm married with a wife of 32 years. I have two young men. Both of them have moved off. Unfortunately, one of them had to move to Lexington to work because there's very little opportunity here. My background in education, I have degrees from Morehead State University, Eastern Kentucky University, and an ABD doctorate from the University of Kentucky. So I'm well versed in many things that we can do for better improvement for our community. But what do we want, folks? We want to be able to raise our children. For those who want to stay, we want them to have the opportunity to stay. Now we can look at job opportunities, and right now in most parts of Eastern Kentucky it's very slim. So we have to come up with a strategic plan for each community. And each community is going to be a little different, but we have to identify their strengths, or weaknesses, and opportunities, and identify the threats that prohibit that. Now, only the communities can come up with that. We can't wait for Frankfurt to come down and bring that to us. My background in a vice president of Big Sandy Community and Technical College. I was the director and CEO of Mayo Technical College, so it's primarily of technical education, which I think I'm confident that will help to identify those companies and manufacturing industry to bring into our area. I have been working, I'm very much involved since retired as an educator over 30 years. And since that time of October, I've been working quite a bit with the local, with the Chamber of Commerce, helping the businesses, especially the small business. Tourism, I'm chair of the tourism in Johnson County, so I'm familiar with that as well. We have an opportunity to come together and work as one, and I'm confident that we can do this. Mentioned earlier about some difficulties we have, and we all have the same difficulties with drugs in our community. Some things that I've been working with a local rehab to not only, as they progress through getting off the drugs, there's one key piece that they're missing, and that is a skill. So when they're done, that they can learn some type of skill. And in my case, I'm going to teach them how to weld so they can go to work after they get off the drugs. So if you want to have hope, you got to have something that once they get off drugs that they can lean to and make money and don't have to go back to the same angle that they've been in before. And that works. Actually, what that does is improves their chances of 85% of never going back to drugs if they have the skills. If we want industry to come in this area, we have to have the infrastructure for that to happen. And that certainly is roads, water, sewage, technology. But another key component of that is the skill set. I'm working with a company as well to bring that skill set and to get the equipment. I'm going down Tuesday to present a case to get 2 pieces of equipment that will help to train in what they call metal brake and also plasma cutting machine. So I understand that, folks. I know it's very little time, but certainly anytime you want to ask me any questions, feel free to do that. Again, my name is Bobby McCool. I am running on the Republican ticket for the state representative. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Okay, up next for state representative is Russell Halsey.
Good evening. I am Russell Halsey, and I am one of your Republican candidates for state representative in the 97th District. I want to extend a special thank you to the Hazel Green Fire Department. Some of you know, and some of you may not. Most of them have been out all day. They participated early this morning with the Pride cleanup here in Hazel Green, so they're well past a 12-hour day for a lot of the Hazel Green Fire Department, which is not unusual, and that's not unusual for fire departments in all of our communities. They are a vital link in our community, so I salute you guys, and I want to say thank you, but not just you guys and girls that make that possible. I'm a lifelong native of Wolfe County, more or less, married to my wife, Robin, of 28 years. We live on what we would call the old family farm at Pine Ridge. We have 2 children. Our daughter, Caitlin, begins medical school this summer. She just joined the Army to help finance medical school, which I've got mixed emotions about. Proud of her service. Sure don't have to worry about the tuition now. Our son Jacob attends school at the University of Alabama, and he's studying aerospace engineering. He actually just took a job as the youngest engineer on the new space station project. So we're proud of our children. Our passion is children. For roughly 30 years, I worked in public education. I retired this past July as principal of Johnson Central High School in Paintsville, Kentucky. My wife is still principal at Central Elementary in Johnson County. So youth and the passion for youth, the desire to see our young people succeed has been part of my life for as long as I can remember. In fact, some of my former teachers are right here in this room tonight, and that gives me a sense of pride to be able to come back and remember what they meant in my life. Our campaign is simple. We share your values of faith, family, and hard work. Our campaign has been built around 7 basic tenets from the beginning when we talked about what was important in our communities and why we decided to run. Obviously, support of public education. We've touched on that. I'm an educator. My wife's an educator. And all public service, our city, community, municipal workers, home health nurses, any public servants. The drug situation's been mentioned a bunch. Guys, we have to address the drug situation. I mean, it's costing the state of Kentucky $100 million a year, give or take, just in dealing with the overdose effects. We're not talking about the cost of enforcement and those kind of things. So the leading cause of death in Kentucky right now is drug overdose. So one of our tenets has to do with the drug situation. We got to find enforcement and treatment that is more than just a slogan. You know, we've heard all the slogans, and a lot of those programs have been good, but we're way past time for one more catchy slogan. We have to attack this drug situation. Economic development, there's been some very meaningful research done on economic development in the last 8-9 years. Everyone wants economic development, but we also think about where we're at, guys. I want to maintain the culture and heritage of our small community. If I wanted to live in the city, I would move to Lexington. So we need to look at economic development that makes sense and preserves the values and the heritage of our rural communities. And there's some really good research about how to do that. There's some very specialized, small-scale economic development. A lot of people don't realize, you realize that Kentucky is #1 in the nation in the export of aerospace industry products. Kentucky is #1 in the manufacture and export of aerospace products, and most of those are small shops. We're not employing, 500 people in a factory. We're employing 20 or 30 or 40 people making highly specialized things. 30 seconds, man, Rick, you're hard on that paper. But I'll tell you, 4 minutes is not enough time to tell you everything. Find us on the Facebook. You can find us on the internet at russellhalseyforkentucky.org. We welcome your input. I promise that if we're fortunate enough to be elected, we realize that we're being sent to Frankfort to vote the way you want us to vote and not the way we want to vote. We thank you for the opportunity to represent you.
Up next, we have the Commonwealth Attorney candidates. Going first will be Miranda King.
Good evening, y'all. If you'll give me just a second, I'm going to start my timer here so that I don't get tore up when this fellow starts shaking his paper at me here in a minute. All right. So I'm Miranda King, and I am running for Commonwealth Attorney. My parents are Randall and Mary Stevens, and they live over in Jackson. I'm married to Robert King. I'm the daughter-in-law of Matt Benningfield and Faye Graham King and the late Judge Jim King. Some of y'all may know my mother-in-law. She's a Wolfe County native and actually went to school here in Hazel Green at Hazel Green Academy. For the last 12 years, I've been practicing criminal law exclusively. I've been a member of the Public Defender's Office, where I've practiced criminal law in Powell, Wolfe, Breathitt, Owsley, Lee, and Estill counties on a regular basis. I have experience with just about every kind of case you could think of, have taken more cases to trial than I can count. I have handled everything from DUI to murder and like everything in between. The Office of Commonwealth Attorney is important. It's especially important to Wolfe County, in my opinion. I believe that because it's my opinion that Wolfe County's taken a back seat for several years. I can say that with knowledge because I've worked Powell County, I've worked Breathitt County on a regular basis. I've handled those dockets, so I've seen how they work, and I believe that Wolfe County has been neglected. I want to change that. If elected, Wolfe County won't be left in the back seat anymore. I promise you that. I have been out in the community, I've talked to you, I've heard you guys, and I want to address just a few of the complaints that I hear kind of over and over and over again. The one that I probably hear the most is that we don't return indictments in Wolfe County. We're not returning them timely, if we're returning them at all. I wanted to look into that because, as everybody knows here, things aren't always what they seem. So I wanted to check it out and see for myself and see if there was anything to what you guys were telling me. And what I found was that in the year of 2017, Wolfe County returned indictments 3 times, all year long, 3 times. That's unacceptable to me. And I can tell you here tonight, if I have the opportunity, we'll do better than that. I know we could do better than that. I believe that indictments, there's absolutely no reason that those can't be returned monthly if we have cases to present. But worst case scenario, every 2 months is the longest we should go. But we got to get people indicted. Not returning indictments causes all kinds of problems, but one of the biggest thing is that there's this thing in the world that we live in as lawyers is the 60-day order, which means if a person isn't indicted within 60 days, they're entitled to be released, not on bond, not having to drug test, not under any sort of rules or regulations. They're just turned loose. That's a problem. It's a problem. It's not fair to victims. It's especially not fair for our law enforcement officers who then have to go back out and track these people down if and when they get indicted. I want to change that. Another problem that I've encountered lots is that we're continuing cases. They're lasting forever. We're not resolving them, and people are walking away with a hand slap. Looked into that. I found that on average, cases in Wolfe County as compared to Breathitt and Powell County, on average, take 6 months longer to resolve than they do in Breathitt and Powell counties. I want you to know I'm not afraid to try cases. If I'm elected, we're either going to resolve it or we're going to try it. That's what we're going to do. Either way, we're going to be done with it. I am out of time, and I had 2 more pages. So I'm happy to discuss that with you guys if you want to talk about it later. I appreciate your time. Please consider me when you go vote. Thank you.
The other candidate, Bruce Harold.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Samuel Bruce Harold, and I'm running for Commonwealth Attorney here in Wolfe County and Breathitt and Powell County. I've worked 16 years as a prosecutor. I've practiced law for 18 years. I've worked as either an assistant county attorney or assistant Commonwealth attorney over that 16-year period. I'd like to thank the Hazel Green Fire Department for having us here tonight and giving us the opportunity to speak to you. A few years ago, I was trying someone for trafficking in drugs in Breathitt County for selling drugs. They had an attorney, They had an attorney out of Lexington. He'd been practicing law a few years, and he got up to give his closing argument. He said he'd practiced law with Happy Chandler, started out practicing law with Happy Chandler. He said he heard Happy give the same speech over 1,000 times, or he said he heard him give him the same speech 1,000 times. And he said Governor Chandler would start the speech saying he was like a mosquito in a nudist colony. He don't know where to start. And I got up to give my closing. I told the people, the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I said, ladies and gentlemen, I don't claim to be a great orator like Happy Chandler, but I know exactly where we're going to start. I said, we're going to start with the evidence. And the first piece of evidence, we're going to start with that buy tape where that defendant was selling drugs. And I tell you that because, again, I don't claim to be a great orator like Governor Chandler was, but I know where I want to start tonight. And I want to start talking to you about experience and my experience. Again, I've worked 16 years as a prosecutor. I've tried murder cases. I've tried assaults. I've also worked for 4 years from 2004 to 2008. I was assigned to 2 drug task forces. And during that period, I prosecuted over 600 felony drug cases. So I'm the candidate that's got experience. I'm not afraid to try a case. You can ask the person I tried for murder, got 35 years. You can ask the person I tried for manufacturing meth. Jury recommended 25 years. The drug dealer in Breathitt County got 20 years. Or the defendant that I was just talking about when I gave that closing that got 8 years. I hold defendants accountable when they commit a crime. I work with the officers to make sure they're satisfied with how I'm handling the case. I work with victims to make sure that they're informed on what I'm doing in the case, to make sure that they're compassionately represented and taken care of in the case. I work hard as a prosecutor. I'm prepared when I go to court, and I do what's right in cases. I feel like I've helped people as a prosecutor. I've helped victims. I've helped families of victims. I've helped defendants. The defendant I was talking to you about trying that case a few years after they were released from prison thanked me for prosecuting them. So they got off drugs where they're in jail, and they now work and are able to take care of their family. A few years ago, when I was assigned to the 2 drug task forces, the chief of police at the Hazard Police Department thanked me as we were going to a drug court graduation, thanked me for the work I was doing in Hazard. About 6 months ago in church, we had this lady speak. She was someone that looked familiar, and as she got up to speak, she introduced herself. She was someone I prosecuted. She talked about the issues that she had with drugs, the struggles that she's had, her experiences, and how she was off drugs. After she got done, she thanked me for prosecuting her also. I appreciate when I see people I prosecute in church, because when they're in church, I don't see them in court. I work hard. I do what's right. I'm honest. I work hard for you as a Commonwealth attorney. I appreciate you consider voting for me. Thank you, and God bless.
Up next, Magistrate District 1, Corbet Wade Gibbs, and Arnold Joe Trusty.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Corbet Wade Gibbs. I'm a candidate for Magistrate District 1 here in Wolfe County. Most of you know me, and the ones who don't, I'm a lifelong resident of Wolfe County here in Hazel Green. Went to Red River Elementary School, Wolfe County High School, graduated from Morehead State University. Graduated with a degree in criminology, and with Bruce and Miranda stepping down, it just seems natural that I followed them, because after I graduated from Morehead, started my career as a probation and parole officer. And generally, when one of those two got done talking in court, it was my turn. So here we are again. But now, as candidate for magistrate, I've got the experience. I was the Wolfe County Pride Coordinator for a number of years when it first started. When Congressman Rogers first got the program going, I was the first coordinator here for the county. So when we were out today picking up garbage, that was kind of going back to where it all got started. I retired from probation and parole in 2015. So I've worked with state agencies from corrections through division of water, division of highways in different capacities. So as a magistrate, I can put that experience with different agencies to use. And I think all of the four candidates that you have here running for magistrate, we all have the same goals. We want to improve the county. We want to improve our roads and our infrastructure. We want to provide more job opportunities for our young people. We want to provide opportunities for our young people to have something to do in their spare time other than the drugs that everybody else has referenced. We all want to get to the same place. I see another candidate over here. So we all want to get to the same place, but getting there is the hard part. Once we go to the meetings, everybody has the ideas, but to get where we want to be, we have to have funding. So I have the experience with these different agencies, different funding agencies. I have experience with writing grant proposals, maintaining the grants once we get awarded. So, and earlier I mentioned that I had retired in 2015. I think that gives me another advantage over my fellow candidates, that I have the free time to serve as a full-time magistrate instead of just coming to the meetings and doing what we do in our meetings. I have time to go to Frankfurt. Anytime the wheels turn with the county judge executive, I can be in the car to go to Frankfurt to talk to different agencies, different commissioners, different coordinators to secure the funding to get us where we want to be as a county and as a community. So again, my name is Corbett Wade Gibbs. I appreciate your vote for magistrate. Thank you.
Up next in District 1 is Arnold Joe Trusty.
I'm Joe Trusty, and I'm running for magistrate in District 1. And I've worked at Locust Grove for several years when I started out, and then I went to Hinkle Contracting. Worked there in the road department. Blacktop most of your roads and stuff that you all drove on here. Worked on a paving crew for almost 19 years. Left that, went to HEJ Middle Fork. Project manage now for them. And basically what I do is just make sure everybody's got the materials that they need and the job gets done correctly. And I do know that's what I'm in here for, to try to run. It's like Wade said, there's 4 of us good candidates. And we're all here from Wolfe County. And what I'm trying to do is improve our roads, make sure that we get our emergency response and all that done correctly. Get out everything that we need. I do know how to fix the roads. That's what I've done for years. And that's what I'll do for us is for Wolfe County. And we do need jobs here and stuff, but either that has to be done with Frankfurt and all that, and that's not a problem for me to go there. I'd go there on a regular basis anyway. But part of my job is to go down there and get licensed for what we do. We got a bridge license, we got paving license, and that's what I do. I have to deal with them on a day-to-day basis mostly. Plus, I weld, obviously, on the side. I've always welded. It's something that I do. I work 4 days for them, 2 for myself usually. But with the job that I have there, it doesn't require me to be there at all times. I can still do my magistrate job. And if my welding business gets in the way, it just gets in the way because I'll do my job as a magistrate first. And I can run any piece of equipment the county's got. I can train our guys to do paving, patching, anything that they need to do. I can get our workers here in the county, they can teach them how they need to do things correctly on our roads. All your tree trimming on your roads, you cleaning your ditches is one of your main things. Keep the water off of the road will save the road. If you don't properly maintain them, they're not going to hold. And it's just, you got to do a lot of things different, and we need to get it done. There's a lot of things that gets done that we're going to have to change. And I'm Joe Trusty, and I'm running for Magistrate District 1.
Okay, up next, we'll have the magistrate for District 2. Going first will be Gene Booth.
Hello today. My name is Gene Tyler Booth. For those of you who are not familiar with me, I'm the grandson of the late Taylor Booth, who served our community for years as superintendent and county court clerk. I'm also the son of Sandy Tyra. She teaches at the Wolfe County High School, or I guess she's at the elementary school now. But I'm also an educator, and I've been teaching at the vocational school in Jackson for the past 14 years. I grew up in District 2. I've lived there pretty much all my life, and minus going to college. Went to college and graduated from Morehead State University. And as soon as I was so fortunate, actually, when I got out of school, you know, I came from a pretty poor family. Of course, I didn't have a vehicle to drive when I got out of high school. I was so fortunate that we had a factory in town. Ascent Power Technology is what it was called at the time, and I worked there for a couple years and saved my money and bought a vehicle, and I got a good start in life. And but I was so fortunate for that job, and then I went on to college and I ended up working in Jackson. So, but anyway, for the better part of my life, I've lived in the Holly community, and as a member of the Torrey family, I grew up on Spring Branch Road, and so, but I've been, like all the candidates, I've been campaigning real hard for the past 5 or 6 months, and so I've been knocking on doors and visiting friends. I've been listening to the concerns of the people in District 2, and of course we would all agree that we live in one of the most beautiful places in the world, and I don't think that anybody in this room would probably rather live any other place and raise a family. Wolfe County, it's our home, and we love our home. But I guess that goes without saying that we do have, like most communities, we do have problems that we really do need to address. Of course, the lack of opportunity, I believe, is the #1 issue in Wolfe County and actually in Eastern Kentucky. For instance, you take drug addiction right now, we're one of the highest in the state of Kentucky, I believe, and also for drug overdoses. Also, we rank 119th out of 120 counties for mortality rates and overall life health. So, but, and what I mean by lack of opportunity is, you take a kid coming out of high school, you know, that from Wolfe County, the average kid, they have very little support at home, and if they're not provided with the right opportunities, then to get a good start in life, it's just hard for them. And so it's up to us as leaders to provide those opportunities. And so, of course, those kids that don't have a lot of opportunity, the only support that they have is our school system. And then once they graduate, the rug is kind of pulled out from underneath them. And so I know that we can do better. You know, Wolfe County, like I've heard other candidates say, should be considered the gateway for Eastern Kentucky. I mean, we should be the hub, actually, of Eastern Kentucky, and we have a major highway that they're expanding at this moment that leads all the way through Eastern Kentucky. And, of course, there's jobs. The economy is actually growing. Pikeville, they just announced Interblue Manufacturing. They're going to be hiring hundreds of people and paying a really good wage. And then, of course, in Winchester, they're hiring infiltrators. Is it done? Okay. Hey, well, thank you very much. I have all kinds of things I'd love to share with you, so please consider me for District 2, and God bless Wolfe County, and God bless Kentucky.
Up next for District 2 will be Willard Lawson.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It was an honor to be here tonight. It's also an honor to take part in the Pride cleanup in Hazel Green this morning. I would like to thank the Hazel Green Fire Department for inviting me. It's always good to support your local fire departments and your school systems. I would like to introduce myself. My name's Willard Lawson. I'm running for Wolfe County Magistrate in District 2. My goals are to improve our roads that our families travel on, culverts that need replaced, blacktop that needs repaired. And I'm 100% for jobs for Wolfe County. My promise to you, ladies and gentlemen, is to work very hard for our great people that live in District 2 and for Wolfe County, and in helping Wolfe County to move forward. And we can do that, but we have got to work together. We have got to work together as a team. I know that we have some good candidates running, but I'm asking for your support, your vote in the upcoming primary election in May 22nd. I've went to Wolfe County School. My kids went to Wolfe County, graduated Wolfe County High School, all down through the years, of course. And as a business owner, I know what it takes to get a job done. So I'm asking for your support and vote for Magistrate in District 2 on May the 22nd. Thank you and God bless.
Up next in District 2 will be Lumpkins.
Howdy. I don't have no notes. I'm going to read my hand, sure, I guess, but I want to thank the fire department. I want to thank the cooks. A mighty good bunch of food. It's my kind of eating. But for y'all that don't know, my name is Roy Lumpkins. My sweet wife is named Betty, sitting back there. For many years, we got a whole bunch of kids. We got 11 grandkids. We got 7 great-grandkids. Now, I left here in 1964 because there was no jobs. Guess what? Still ain't no jobs, are they? And what did I do for a living? I drove one of them big car carriers. I haul new cars for a living. 36 years I pounded the roads. I spent a lot of my time up in the air because I was a representative for the Teamsters Union, the largest union in the world. I know a little bit about politics. I know how to argue. And I can say yes, no, just as easy as I say yes. My brother, Stevie Lumpkins, if y'all know him. My sister is Marie Morse. I retired. I left in '64, retired in 2002, and moved back to Wolfe County, where I love. On the farm that my dad left me, I built my new home, and that's where I homestead. I also give Kentucky Carry Seal license classes. I also do that. Now, as a magistrate, this is what I will do. I will look. You got a problem, you call me. I can work with any judge, executive, as long as he gives me what I want. I will take and ride the roads. When the storm comes in, I'll be out there in it. I will have my work hand with me, which I have a small business. You all probably know of me. I sell a lot of these wood boiler stoves, these water boilers. Got them all over eastern Kentucky and New Jersey and everywhere. I'll have my work hand with me, riding with me with a chainsaw, and guess what? We'll have gas. That's what we'll do, and we'll cut them out for you. When the snow comes and it gets real deep, you got an emergency, you can't get out, call Roy Lumpkins. I'll come get you out. And I believe there's a man in here looking right now and agreeing to me will vouch for that. I'll come to you. You people are my people. I love you people. I love the people in Wolfe County. But we don't have no jobs. When I left here in 1964, we had 3 restaurants, 2 bus stations, 3 grocery stores, hardware stores, motel, Ford garage, a theater. What do we got now? It all disappeared. When I moved back in 2002, guess what was new? We had 2 red lights. That's all we had. So, tonight, I asked you guys, if you want to see a working magistrate, and I'm going to prove to the people what a master's supposed to do. He's supposed to work. He's supposed to sure the stuff's cut out of the roads. He's supposed to do that. That's his job. And I'm going to do it. Just give me a chance. I thank y'all, I love y'all, and God bless you.
Up next will be District 3. Looks like the only one here is Donnie Tosin.
Good evening, everybody. I want to thank everybody for the supper. Good turnout. My name's Donnie Darrell Tosin. I live out on Route 746. I'm running for Master of District 3. At least I know we'll come in 5th because there's 5 of us. So at least come in 5th. But I've lived here all my life. I've raised 2 daughters, Tammy Combs, which lives in Boneville, and Susan, my youngest, lives in Harrisburg. And I don't know not much that I can add to that what ain't been said tonight. And as Roy said, I'll be your master. I retired from Locust Grove in 2012. Worked with Robert Hurst. We played in the same mud hole together, working on them old dozers. I've worked. We left church 2:30 in the morning. I know what it's like. And they've all already said it and covered it, but I'll say this. I can work with them. We will go to Frankfurt. We will do what it takes. That's my goal. Far as standing here and promise you this, promise you that, I can't. I promise you I'll do what I can do. I will be out there on the snowy nights. I will be out there stormy nights. I'll be out around the sea on the pretty days. And I'm for our kids, yes. I know what it's like. Drive Laxton, drive Hazard, drive Sayersville. I've done it. I've drove from, which have lived here, but I drove it to be home for a night with my family. And I know, a lot of you might not know me, but I'm sure some of you all is driving them same roads I drove. I'm out of it, I'm glad of it. I won't be no part-time magistrate. I'm retired, I'll be your full-time magistrate. As Roy said, I'm in the book. My name is Donnie Darrell Tosin. Some of my friends riding me a little bit about that, but there's some more Donnie Tosin, so I always just went by Donnie D, and that's how it's listed in the phone book. And if you need me, try me. I'll be there. God bless you, and thank you.
Hello. Most of you know me, but for those of you who don't, my name is Debbie Holcomb Sparks. I've been your circuit court clerk for 12 years, and I would like to keep my job. You talk about supporting. I've supported our basketball, softball, t-ball, whatever. People come by the office, they need a donation. Sending kids to 4-H camp. I'm for the kids. I'm for all the people. When I was Chief Deputy Circuit Court Clerk under Susan Neff for several years. Susan decided she was going to retire. And when she did, then I tried. I took the test and I passed, and I was elected without opposition Circuit Court Clerk. For the past 8 years, I've taken care of my mother. I'm not complaining. I'm glad I could do it. I was blessed. She lived to be 96. In January, she passed away. I hired a lady to sit with her during the day so I could work. That was my only out, was my job. Years ago, not long after I became clerk, I was diagnosed with cancer. I traveled to Lexington every day for 37 days. I'm not complaining, I'm just telling you how thankful and how blessed I've been. But to tell you how much I enjoyed my job, I went to Lexington of a morning, took my radiation treatments, came back to work the rest of the day. My doctor's saying, Debbie, you don't need to do that. You need to rest. You're tired. My job was my out. I said, you don't understand. I need to work. That helps me. And I still need to work. I was born and raised here in Wolfe County. Dr. Maddox's baby, as some of you are, I'm sure. Lived here all my life. My parents were Carson and Ruby Holcomb. I'm 8 out of 9 children. We have been so blessed. I was blessed to keep my parents, to be able to take care of them without having to put them in a nursing home. But anyway, I would appreciate your vote on May the 22nd. Number 1 on the ballot, and I would like to continue to be your Circuit Court Clerk. Thank you.
Up next for Circuit Court Clerk will be Natasha Bailey-Tipton.
Good evening, everyone. Please excuse my attire. I just returned from the mother-son cowboy dance over at Campton a little while ago. But I know or have met most of you, but I am Natasha Bailey-Tipton, and I'm running for Circuit Court Clerk. I am the daughter of Tim and Patricia Bailey, and I have had the pleasure of residing in Wolfe County my entire life. After high school, I worked my way through college, graduated, and acquired my license to be a registered dental hygienist. This year, my husband Brandon and I will celebrate 10 years of marriage, and we are enjoying being first-time parents to my 1.5-year-old little boy running around here. I know that I'm new to the whole political grid, and a lot of people always ask me why I desire to be Circuit Court Clerk. My simple answer is that I have always had a passion for helping and serving others, and this job would allow me to do just that. I'm ready to take on a new role in the community, tackle new challenges, and I know that I would be a positive asset to the office. There's not a lot that I can promise, but if elected, I will run a professional and efficient office with a friendly office atmosphere. I will listen to your concerns as well as those in the office, and together we can make any necessary and allowable adjustments to how business is conducted, whether that's open a little later during the week, on a Saturday, whatever it may be. I promise to be an active presence in the office and to treat everyone equally, compassionately, and with a smile. Again, I am Natasha Bailey-Tipton. I'm running for Circuit Court Clerk, and I humbly ask for your vote and support on Tuesday, May 22nd. Thank you, and God bless.
Okay, up next for Circuit Court Clerk is Chanda Oliver.
I'm a little short. Hello, I am Chanda Oliver, and I am running for Circuit Court Clerk. I want to be your next Circuit Court Clerk. Will Oliver is my husband. He drives these roads every day to come to Red River for many years. He comes to Red River to be a teacher. We have 3 boys. Pam and Mike Oliver is my in-laws, and my parents are Wayne and Jerry Wilson. I want to thank the fire department for having us tonight. I got in my minivan to come here, and after I passed the nursing home, I felt like I was driving a Tesla, one of those self-driving cars. It knowed exactly where I was going. And then it's past 9 p.m., so I've made it to prime time. But I have 10 years' experience as a deputy clerk in the circuit court clerk's office. I know the duties well: driver's license, bench clerking, new cases, collecting fines, all the duties that need to be performed in the circuit court's clerk office. I can perform them for you. I have a lot of new ideas if I am elected as your new circuit clerk. One of them is going to be hopefully opening up on a Saturday for a few hours, because I know that we have a lot of people that work out of the county here work out of the county. And when you don't get home till Sunday night, or leave out on Sunday night, don't get home till Friday after we're closed, it is hard to get your driver's license renewed without losing a whole day's pay. I am a people person. I've always been active in the community, not just at election time, way long before the election time. I attend the United Methodist Church. I attend all the school functions. I'm an active role model in the Wolfe County Youth Sports League. Sat on site base for Rogers Elementary for 2 years, was in the Woman's Club, was an officer in the Woman's Club, Wolfe County pageant, done that for many years. That was an obstacle. And then Relay for Life. I attend Relay for Life. My mother-in-law is a big active role model in Relay for Life, and I'm all about anything that we can do to help support the community, even down to running 5Ks sometimes for all of them that had them and sponsored them. I'd get out and go. I wouldn't do much running, but I was doing the 5Ks for them. If I am elected as your next Wolfe County Circuit Court clerk, I am going to be a working clerk. I will be in the office. You'll be able to see me, contact me. I will be available for you. And I want this job with all my heart. Since I had to resign to be able to run for office, I miss it. And I really want to get back in there. I would like to be able to show you all what I could do if I was your circuit court clerk. It's time for a change, and I hope that you all on May 22nd would consider me to be your next Wolfe County Circuit Court clerk. Again, I am Chanda Oliver.
Okay, up next here will be the candidates for the PVA. Going first will be Justina Smith.
I wanted to start real quick and present Arthur Vest with something. If you come up here, please. Just something that might help with the Easter egg hunt, because the only complaint I had is I couldn't hear a thing that was going on. Well, let's start with this and see if this helps, okay? Okay. There you go. Push it to talk. Let's not do the siren. No, we don't need the siren. Just push it and start talking.
Get a cone and Rick could use it. It'd be the same thing.
Whatever.
Yeah. They couldn't hear me? Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. There you go. Push this in and start talking.
Can you hear me? No.
No. Put your mouth up there.
Can you hear me now? No. What about now?
No.
That's loud as it'll go. Don't be afraid to talk.
How about that? You're loud. Well, you practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. We're all exhausted, I know. I don't even remember what I'm running for, so.
Can I start you now?
Do it, go. All right. My name's Justina. I'm the current PVA right now. We all know each other. We've done this enough. We're all tired. I just wanted to answer one of the questions that I get asked while we're out campaigning, and then why should you vote for me? You should vote for me. My simple answer is because I know what I'm doing. Been in the office 10 years. I've been PVA for the last 4. I was hired by Jokey Dunn, who is a former PVA, and worked with him until he retired, and then Tim Ferguson took PVA, worked with him until he retired, and then I became PVA this last term unopposed. Those 2 men had 30 years of experience in the office, and I learned how to run the office, and I know how to make my office work. I know what Frankfort expects from us, and I know what needs to be done for my county and for my people. I have passed numerous audits and all this stuff that Frankfort comes and does and requires of us, so I know what I'm doing. I'll close by saying if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and my office is not broken. I'm the right person for this job. I know what I'm doing. I'd appreciate all your votes on May 22nd and keep me in the office. Thank you.
Okay, up now will be Michael Brand.
Hello, folks. I guess they saved the best for last and I'm so glad that the fire department and all the people here have hung around. They've done a wonderful job with the meal. If you look up there, you'll see thousands of Easter eggs. I teach school over at Red River, and being there, I've got to see how the fire department is a vital part of our community. This is a very tight-knit group. They do everything. They provide food, and they do a whole lot for this community, not just the Hazel Green, but Campton and Wolfe County. Thank you all. Now I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. My name's Michael Brand. I'm running for PVA. My father is Charles Brand. My mother is Judy Brand. You may have seen her at the nursing home. She worked for Home Health. My father retired from Rockwell, and I have a very strong work ethic. I don't see any of my teacher friends in here at the moment. There may be one, but if any of you all have taught school before, our governor is saying that people hoard their sick time. I've been teaching for 17 years, and I'm the person that's there every day. I have 152 sick days, and I've donated 10 of them. I'm there when they ask me to be. I do what I'm supposed to do. If anybody needs my help, I'm willing to help. And if I'm elected into office, that is what I will do for the people of Wolfe County. You have to be able to be willing to work, be there, and be willing to help them. There's probably people in this room right now that I've helped with their math homework. Still, I can see 3 or 4. That's just one of the things I can do. I'm very good with numbers. The state qualification test, when I was finished, I knew I didn't miss any of the math questions. I scored an 81 out of 100, which makes me qualified to do this job. Yes, she has experience, and there's not anything else I can say about that. I have 17 years of experience as a teacher and working with the public. And there's just a couple of things. Either the people of the county are happy with their property taxes, or they're not. That's pretty much how it works. If you're happy with the rates that you're paying, you can vote for Miss Justina Trusty. If you're unhappy, you have me for an option. I will try to do everything that I can within the rules. I've been reading this thing that I printed off from Frankfort, talking about the job qualifications and the responsibilities. And I'm glad that you've done well with your audits, because that's what you're supposed to do. You're doing your job. And I applaud you for it. But as I said, I'm a school teacher, 17 years of experience. And with that, everybody knows what's going on in Frankfort. with 17 years of experience, I'm going to fall into the group where I will not have a retirement. And I'm just looking for a different position because I'm qualified. I know what I'm doing. I'm very good with numbers. And when you think about taxes, you think about numbers. Like I said, if you're happy with the rates that you're paying, vote for Miss Justina Trusty. If you're unhappy with your property taxes, you have another option. Am I out of time? Is there anybody else behind me? Okay. All right, I was just checking. Like I said, we've got two options. If you're unhappy, I'm your option. Thank you, and thank the fire department and all the people that's managed to hang around. And one more thing, my little girl has waited so patiently. So thank you all for giving us the opportunity.
Is there any candidate here that didn't get to speak? Is there anybody here who wants to run as a write-in? I guess this closes the Hazel Green Fire Department forum. I appreciate all the candidates. Oh, I'm done. We appreciate Hazel Green Fire Department for putting this on. Thanks to all the candidates coming out, and thanks for everyone to come out and listen to the candidates. See y'all next time.